To preface this video, I want to say, I do not hate DEEPWOKEN. I love playing this game, it grew my channel to heights previously unseen. But the piling issues of this game is killing it rapidly. In December, DEEPWOKEN used to average over 30,000 concurrent players, easily, even when most players are asleep. Entering January, it still averages 5 digits 24/7 without much difficulty. But now? The player count is hovering around 3 to 4,000. There are three main issues to focus on, those being DEEPWOKEN's progression, endgame and updates. The issue of progression is undoubtedly one of the biggest issues in DEEPWOKEN. This is because, to put it simply, it is repetitive. You go to one island, beat some bandits, go to another island, beat some humans with elements, go to another island, beat more mobs, so on and so forth until you reach max level. This is an issue because 1, it's boring as fuck, and 2, this game is a roguelike. As a roguelike, progression have to be quick because people will be wiping constantly, and exploring new options. But not only is it boring to progress because it's literally the same thing over and over after you finish exploring, it also takes an extremely long amount of time to finish progressing, relatively speaking compared to other roguelikes. If you're a tryhard, it would take around half a day to reach level 60, but what if you're a regular player? For the average player with medium amount of skill and knowledge, it would take them over 30 hours to finish a build, counting luck gain, not including acquiring a good enchant and a good equipment set. Some of you may think Origins help with this issue, but that couldn't be more wrong. Origins did absolutely nothing to help with it. Deepbound is just the same thing, except your spawn location is different. Voidwalker was actually a fun and unique experience, for a while. But then these developers have the bright idea to implement a system in which pretty much 90% of the bounties can't be hunted. If you're a Voidwalker, you know exactly what I mean. The game put up so many posters on the board, but doesn't even allow us to hunt any of them? That genuinely makes no sense to me. Not only are these targets unhuntable, the ones that can be hunted are out of reach for some unknown reason. All it takes to not get targeted by the grasp of Eyeless is get on a boat and sail for 10 studs. And to add salt to the wound, there's even a cooldown if your target disappears. So if you're planning to go this route, prepare to take even longer than the initial time I mentioned to reach level 60, truly, a beautifully designed system. Some of you might be commenting about alternative progression methods that don't involve Origins, like chimes. Well, Chime of Conflict is another can of worms altogether. Besides the clearly flawed system of matchmaking, where it pits people with stranded armor against Black Diver with enchant, there's an even bigger underlying issue. The region. The fact that we can't choose our region in the arena lobby is something that has plagued the player base for ages. As an Asian player, 99% of the servers I enter are in NA, which means it's pretty much impossible for me to have fun while playing chimes. This also extends to Trial of One. I'm sure all of you have encountered this bullshit even if you're not Asian. It's genuinely cancerous to play on 400 ping when ping means everything in a game like DEEPWOKEN. In fact, it has gotten so bad that I might have developed xenophobia against people from NA, and yet, there's still no server selection for chimes. Well, that's just everything related to progression, and the video is already longer than my average ones. Now onto the endgame. Being a roguelike, it's only natural for the endgame to be PvP. I don't expect DEEPWOKEN to have a separate endgame geared towards people who prefer PvE, like in RuneScape, where you can grind for rare collectibles like pets. So what's the problem with PvP, you might be asking? Well, the combat system is pretty good, probably the best on Roblox. But, what's ruining DEEPWOKEN combat is its oversaturation. A select few build holds complete dominion over the meta, so much so that they have insane win rates compared to other, lesser used builds. This is because the balancing team of DEEPWOKEN is filled with actual chimps, every single last one of them, and the worst part is, these chimps are also insanely stubborn. I have never seen any suggestion being added to DEEPWOKEN in terms of balancing, from the suggestion channel. Actually, who am I kidding? It's not just in terms of balancing, Nothing the community suggests has ever gotten added, the channel is just there for novelty purposes. Well, I've gone off topic for a bit. I was supposed to discuss DEEPWOKEN Endgame, not bring up another separate issue, but yeah, the point is, good system, non-existent balancing, terrible results. I'm sure every single one of you would agree with me on this point. Fuck DEEPWOKEN's balancing. The final and biggest issue is the updates. DEEPWOKEN updates are genuinely egregious to look at. The recent ones are especially terrible, with little to no changes just because they claim to be working on Layer 2, the same Layer 2 that has been in development hell for ages. This level of development hell is reminding me of Yandere Race Emulator. As someone who leaked Layer 2 daily, I can assure you, it's not coming anytime soon. So, what are the updates that we've been getting, you ask? All the content updates can be summarized in this short I made. In this past month, we've gotten random pointless tweaks to aspects of the game which nobody gives a shit about, and a fucking tutorial in a difficult game that supposedly has little to no hand-holding. Can you imagine? What were the devs thinking when they made that addition? More on the content updates of this game. I want you to think back on what new bosses or explorable areas that have been added since release. Because honestly, I couldn't think of a single one. This is genuinely baffling and unheard of. In the time when DEEPWOKEN released to October 25, 2022, not a single fresh new piece of content has been added. Even other boring bandit beaters like Grand Peace Online, at least have new content to keep the dopamine flow going, but what about DEEPWOKEN? A huge part of this can be attributed to sequential development, that is, one developer cannot work on the update until the previous one finishes. I have no idea who thought this was a good idea, but well, the result speaks for themselves. Updates like Layer 2 are taking 10 times longer than they're supposed to take, and generally speaking, content updates are non-existent. That's why my Layer 2 videos even get a lot of views in the first place, because genuinely speaking, the community itself is sick and tired of this bullshit. Development hell is not fun, and DEEPWOKEN players would flock to any video that resembles a semblance of progress made on DEEPWOKEN development. But sequential development is only a part of the bigger issue. These developers also spend a lot of time on specs, to the point where there's dozens upon dozens of unreleased specs in the files. The main issue in my opinion is the lack of motivation and goals. Look at it this way, DEEPWOKEN is a game that has grossed millions of dollars via Developers Exchange. Even after splitting the money, the main devs like Ragusa and Archmage are set for life. There's literally no reason for them to continue working on updates. It doesn't matter because even if DEEPWOKEN dies today, they'll still be rich. In conclusion, it's really disappointing for me to see a game with so much potential get ruined by a subpar development team. People say I do not care about the developers' feelings, and yes, that is completely true. It's not like they give a shit about the community's feelings either, so why should I care? There's also rumors that all these issues I talked about will be fixed in Layer 2, setting the fact that the Layer 2 update is basically as real as Santa Claus aside. I highly doubt that's true. New content will be added, which will temporarily fix the third issue I have with this game. But the first two issues are fundamental flaws of DEEPWOKEN, which wouldn't be fixed simply because there's more content. And after Layer 2 drops, you can bet me it'll be years before another content update. Unless they change their development style entirely, I doubt even the third issue will be fixed permanently. So yeah, my hopes for this game is basically zero, and yours should be too. There's an update in a couple hours, but let's be real here. It's most likely some enchant getting gutted. This rant has gone on for long enough. I've said what's needed to be said. All the community's grievances with the game have been covered. I will still be milking content from this game until it inevitably dies. Do like and subscribe as I upload daily, and have a better day than me.